McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles in the overworld. Now for a limited time, you can get one of 6 McDonald's collectibles when you order a Minecraft movie meal. Ooh. With your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Available now in a biome near you. Oh, and at your local McDonald's. I participate in McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance.
For your free quote, go to SelectQuote.com. SelectQuote.com. That's SelectQuote.com.
SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
There's no purpose in teaching anybody who don't really want to learn, who really don't want to get to it. Everybody want to play entrepreneur. They don't want the sacrifice that come with this shit. Truly.
Late nights, early mornings.
You're going to lose friends, lose girlfriends, family going to call you crazy, not going to believe in you, then you make it, and then everybody going to be like, I'm proud of you, let me get some money.
What I've realized that wealthy people understand, and people in general, it's the small concepts that you can apply to get wealthy. You don't gotta be super smart and gotta know all the intricacies of real estate or taxes or e-commerce or whatever, trucking, whatever it is.
It's good if you wanna be rich in that business, but you don't need to know that.
You don't need to know everything. You just need to know small, basic concepts. And one of the smallest basic concepts that anybody can understand is get money, buy income. Get money, buy more money.
I woke up feeling wealthy today. My bank account might not agree, but hey, that shit on the way. Me and my niggas laying brick on top of brick till we straight. If you the type that play the victim, you can't come in my space. You know this game ain't for the weak, it's hard to carry this weight. I keep my balance through the ups and downs, I'm never gonna break. You feel the purpose in my spirit when you look in my face. Cause this ain't a second I can waste, I'm putting food on plate.
What up, wealthy people? It's your boy, David Bellard. You're now tuned in to the Black Wealth Renaissance Podcast, your favorite show, and you know it's the place to go. I'm here with my brother, Jalen Clark. How you doing, dog?
Man, I'm doing great, dog. I like that little rhyme that you did. That shit was kind of lit, dog.
You know, I've been sipping on a little
tequila, yeah.
Coming out whenever you get a little
got
liquor.
You feeling like a rapper.
Yeah. I go to the studio right now, you feel me?
Yeah. Bars. I love it. But I'm feeling great, man. Here with another episode. We've been potting our ass off today, been getting it in. And we got another special episode.
Definitely.
But before we get into the episode, I want to make sure that we asked all the guests, please leave us a 5-star rating and review.
Definitely.
Make sure you share this with family and friends if you enjoy this. If this is your first time, sit back, relax. You're about to get some knowledge dropped on you, and you're about to tap into the greatest show on earth. Let's get it.
Let's go. Facts. And real quick, another plug before. Well, actually, it happened at this time. So if you didn't go to the Black Men Summit, man, you played yourself. I'm just going to tell you that. You're going to see the content on social media. You're going to hear the brothers talking about it, and you're going to be like, damn, man.
I should have been there.
But don't worry.
Got me a live link. But you was fucking up.
Yeah. But you can be there next year. So blackmensummit.com, subscribe. But as my brother was saying, man, I'm excited about this episode today. This is another great installment of the Black Wealth Renaissance Podcast. Like no other, man. We got two brothers out of DC who have built something that is incredibly important and impactful for the culture. These guys have created a community and a software that is educating our people on making money in the stock market. And you know, y'all done heard many of our episodes, man. Stocks is one of the ways to go. It's one of the ways to build long-term generational wealth. So I'm excited to introduce these two brothers on our show. We have none other than Jehu Graham and Mr. Francis Kway, the creators of the Cheat Code. How y'all doing, brothers?
Doing great, man.
Bless, man. Appreciate you.
Definitely. Thank you for having us, man.
Yeah.
Excited for this
conversation.
conversation.
Brother.
Yes.
Yeah. Look forward to it.
Thank
man.
y'all for taking the flight, taking some time to come out here.
For sure.
As David was alluding to, you know, the work that y'all doing in the community, I kind of just want to get into it. But before we actually, you know, get into the full stock market part, I want to get y'all origin stories. Like, can y'all give us a brief 5-10 minute of what directed y'all into actually getting into stock?
Yeah, for sure. So I was born and raised in Ghana, West Africa.
Shout out to the motherland.
Yeah, shout out to the motherland, man. If you guys have not been back, definitely check it out. Make sure you go back and get connected with your roots.
Sure.
But I came here in 2006, young teenager. You know what I'm saying, between like 12 and 13. Got through the entire school system here. You know what I'm saying, went through high school, college, the whole 9 yards of everything I was supposed to do. Bio, was an athlete, et cetera, et cetera. But one thing that I realized was I never learned anything about finances, wealth, anything about, you know, learning how to build my first, like, you know, house or buy my first house at that matter. And I actually connected with Francis through a business, mutually beneficial business relationship that we had connected on, selling, like, you know, Afrocentric clothing and things like that. And Francis was always talking about the financial markets. You know what I'm saying? Like, you couldn't talk to him without hearing about the financial markets. So I was like, man, I'm somebody that's a sponge for information. So, you know what I'm saying? Once I started talking, I started paying attention. And, you know, I started, like, you know, putting into practice what he was talking about, doing my research, doing my own due diligence. And, man, like, I just was shocked once I started practicing and putting into, you know, really soaking up the education and putting into practice everything that he was talking about. I was able to go from my 9-to-5, quitting my 9-to-5 job. I'm nobody that's
which I never thought he'd ever do. I tell people all the time.
I'm not one of them. I'm not
the type of person to quit a job.
Yeah,
he's
man.
very
structured.
What was your job?
I was actually in property management, managing over 2,500 units. Probably one of the biggest property on the East Coast, out in Alexandria, Virginia. So yeah, man, it was dope. But he actually lived on my property, and that's how we ended up connecting. But I love a blessing, man.
Yeah, it was wild. I mean, so like for us, man, you know, it really happens so like organically and naturally when it came to, you know, creating a program. You know, my dad taught me trading or taught me about stocks when I was about 13, right? I kind of went where he kind of went the right way. I went the wrong way, right? Like, so when I was in school, I was one of those kids that they were like, oh, he's so bright and so this and the third, but you know, was doing the wrong thing, right? Was always getting into trouble, was always in school suspension, out of school suspension. So, you know, at one period of time, I got kicked out of school for the remainder of the year, which was like 2 quarters. And so I was just home. And so my dad worked from home. He's a software developer, you know what I mean? And so he's home, and I'm sitting there, I'm looking over his shoulder. I think I gave him some like work that he gave me, homework assignments he gave me. I'm going to turn it in. He looking at his stock portfolio, so I started talking to him about it, and he introduced it to me, and that set off a whole different thing. You know, when I started to realize, because you know, I was real entrepreneurial even in high school. You know, the wrong way, right? But I always was into business. You know, starting little lawn mowing companies, snow shoveling, blah blah blah, whatever. And once I figured out the stock thing, I was like, oh, this is it. You know what I mean? At that time, I think my first trade was in gold, right? Gold at the time was like $300. And I kept telling my dad, like, man, it's going to be a gold store. This is right before the recession hit. Right?
2008?
This is actually was like 2006. Okay. Right? So like 2006 is when I was talking about gold being a thing. And then the recession in 2008. At that time I was 16. Right. So this is a couple years later, right? This is like I think my junior year of school. He first introduced it to me in 9th grade. And then my junior year of school, or like sophomore, junior year of school, I was 16. And so I was like, man, Dad, gold is going to hit, right? Because like I was learning about inflation and how it impacts. And then next thing, he didn't listen, you know what I mean? And the next thing you know, gold went from $300 an ounce to $1,000 an ounce, et cetera, et cetera. And so like that was like the first time like he really was like paying attention, right? Long story short, throughout that process, I got hip to it. And I teach my friends, like in high school, we'd be selling weed and then go take that money and try to flip it into weed penny stocks. You know what I mean? At the time, weed penny stocks was popping. Yeah. And so you got a bunch of like, you know, little degenerate kids is like actually trading. So it was cool. And at the time, we didn't know anything super advanced. We just were pretty much like gambling the market. Long story short, I get locked up, 18, did some stuff, got in some trouble, things of that nature. Did 3 years. I came home at 21. At 21, I couldn't really get a good job. You know, I was doing minimal construction work, standing out with with my fellow essays out there. You know what I mean? Trying to get
just getting out the mud.
Getting out the mud, man. Little day laborer jobs and stuff like that. Going in trying to do that type of stuff. And then I got a job as electrical apprentice, making like $7 an hour in Norfolk. And so I'm in Norfolk, Virginia. So I was taking my paychecks and I started flipping them in the stock market. Really started going to there's a little brokerage account called Scottrade, the brokerage. They got acquired by TD Ameritrade. And so I used to go after work. I get off at 3, and I go to Scottrade for workshops at like 4 or 5. And it's like all old white men with like little liver spots on their head and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, I'm in this joint.
You the only
smelling like Bengay.
I'm the youngest and the only person of color in there. You feel me? Like, I'm in there with
really
dirty work boots. You know what I'm saying? I'm in work boots. I'm trying to learn this shit. They teaching it on
getting
like,
out the mud for real.
Out the mud, literally. And they teaching it on like overhead. Remember the overhead projectors?
Slides, boards, Promethean boards.
No. What you talking about?
He's younger.
I know what you're talking about. You talking about the one that will let little caught out.
You got the little translucent paper.
Put the marker.
Right on that joint, bro. I'm talking about, look, I'll never forget it, man. The first thing I learned, it was a technical analysis workshop, and they talked about the golden cross, where the 50 moving average moves above the 200 moving average, right? And it gives you what's called the golden cross, is a bullish signal. And that's when everything opened up for me. I'm like, you mean to tell me that by looking at these moving averages, I can predict whether a stock is likely to go up or down, right?
McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles in the overworld. Now for a limited time, you can get one of 6 McDonald's collectibles when you order a Minecraft movie meal. With your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Available now in a biome near you. Oh, and at your local McDonald's. I participate in McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.
At State Farm, we're committed to uplifting Black futures. In collaboration with organizations like 100 Black Men and National Urban League, State Farm provides high school students with the opportunity to learn and apply best practice strategies for saving and investing, all while offering academic support, life skills, and exposure to college access programs to prepare these students for life after high school. Check out 100blackmen.org and nul.org to donate and learn more. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Before that, it was all just a guessing game to me, right? I think it's going to go up, so I'm going to get it. And so once they open up with technical analysis, I was like, nah, man, if I study this shit, I can really actually, make money at will.
Right.
And so I started practicing that. And then the moment I made more money, like I told y'all, from the porta potty on the job site, trading on my phone.
On the porta potty, working
getting
money.
Lunch. I take my whole lunch break, man. I'm in that job. I'll come home, I'm be in the car, and then I'm still trading. So I don't want to go back to work. So I go straight to the porta potty, give me some extra time, like at least an extra 30 minutes before I got to go back on the job site. So I'm in there literally and I made I was like $700, which was about 2 weeks worth of my paycheck. And I was like, man, I'm done. I walked off the job site like 2 days later, and I was like, yo, I'm going to go full time.
Gonna figure this out.
Man.
I love it, bro.
So what year was that?
That was in 2013.
2013,
man.
Kway, man, you just touched on something really, really important when it comes to the stock market. And you talked about how, like, whenever you first started, it was gambling. I feel like that's how a lot of people start, right? Like, I know for me, my first interaction with the stock market was when I was in college. You gonna laugh at me?
Because I know what you're about to say.
I really did not know what I was doing. Like, I seen a Robinhood and I was like, okay, I want to get into this stock stuff. This seemed like something I need to do in my life.
Right.
So I thought I was buying shares of Snapchat, and I bought an option. Didn't know what I was doing. So like, I bought it, and I bought a weekly at that.
Oh man, that's for like 4 cents. My man was like,
bro, I thought I was lit.
Picked
so
up
I think it was like $7.
Like
the shares were $7 at the time. So I bought it. And then it expired at 0, and I was like,
"Where my money went?
Where my money? This is a scam, bro. This is a scam." So like, I'm glad that you talked about like this part of technical analysis, because so many of us, we get introduced to the stock market and then we don't really understand anything about it. We just go in there gambling, not even understanding what we're doing. So I kind of want to ask you, like, with technical analysis, can you kind of break down exactly what technical analysis is for the people?
Yeah, so technical analysis, essentially, there's two types of analysis, right? One is fundamental analysis. That tells you what company is a good company to buy. Is this company have strong revenue growth? Do they have low debt? Do they have a lot of debt? What is their management team like? That's fundamental analysis. Those are fundamentals. You're looking at the assets, the liabilities, the balance sheet, the cash flow statement. Technical analysis, on the other hand, doesn't give a damn about any of that. Technical analysis is knowing when to buy a company, because you can buy the right company at the wrong time and still lose money, right?
Yeah,
I like
just
that.
like Snapchat.
So you said like fundamental analysis is knowing what to buy. Technical analysis is knowing when to buy.
Exactly. And so with technicals, all we're doing is we're looking at chart patterns. We're looking at history. We're looking at particular key levels, because charts don't just move at random. A lot of people think that stocks move up and down randomly. The market is a place of psychology, right? When you have more people that think that a stock should go up than people who think it should go down, the stock will go up because more people will buy it at that price. And when you have more buyers and sellers, the stock price goes up. And so all the chart is a representation of the psychology of the market at any given moment in time, right? And so technical analysis is just us being able to interpret that psychological data from the chart to know when is the psychology, when is the emotion of the market starting to change from people thinking it's going to be good to people thinking it's going to be bad, and how do I get in and out of that to make money? You see what I'm saying?
I follow. I'm picking up what you're putting down.
That's real.
So now I gotta ask, right?
That, man, that's a New Orleans talk, man. I'm picking up what you're saying now.
Yeah, you heard me. I love it.
I knew y'all just got out the boot.
We just came back.
I love it.
I couldn't stop saying, baby. I was like, dang. I like New Orleans, man.
I love it though, bro. Yeah. So I kind of want to get into fundamental analysis a bit more. I know you broke down both, right? Yeah. So fundamental analysis is what to buy. You talked about assets and liabilities, kind of balance
Cash
sheets,
flow.
what that net do, right?
Right.
So what are like the things that people need to understand to really do fundamental analysis?
So with fundamental analysis, it's simple things actually. So the easiest thing to start with is something I call top-down analysis, right? It's not something I call top-down analysis. What it's called, right? And top-down analysis is basically understanding where the overall sector is headed, right? So like I start with the sector. Right now we know clean energy is a thing. We know coal energy is likely going away, right? So shortly, there's a lot of
legislation is starting to move in the direction of let's get rid of what's like. I think it's 5 states now that are coming up with legislation that's like we're gonna move to EVs by 2035.
So now
incentivizing a lot of people for clean energy.
Exactly. So would I now go and look for a coal company to think that I'm gonna be well positioned over the next 10 years to buy that company? Probably not. So if I start with the top-down analysis, I say, okay, this sector is going to be hot for some time, most likely. This sector has a lot of positivity coming to it. Okay, now let me go find the best company in that sector to add to my portfolio or to look at purchasing. And so then you start looking at, okay, what companies have strong revenue growth over a period of time, right? There's things like return on equity, right? How well does this company return capital back to its investors? Return on assets. How well does this company utilize its assets to make money? There's things like there's a lot of different fundamental factors, right? But ultimately,
I kind of want to ask about return on equity. So it's like the share price and how much money they're generating per share. Is that return on equity?
Pretty much for the most part. And that's basically how a company is, like I said, returning capital towards its shareholders, right? And so now when you look at something like that, I'm looking for companies that have strong profit margins, they have healthy balance sheets, they don't have a lot of debt. Okay, this looks like it's a good company. Now let me look at the management team, which is a little bit less tangible. I'm going to listen to their earnings reports. Every quarter, companies put out earnings reports and they do conference calls. I will sit down and listen to the conference call. I want to hear the voice of the CEO. I want to hear what is his plans, what is his actions, how confident is he in his team. I'll tell you real quick a quick story on that. Back in 2013 when I was trading heavy, right, I took my student refund checks, right, and my girl's student refund checks at the time, and took $2,000 from my $2,000 for her, put $4,000 in a company called Plug Power, right? Plug Power does hydrogen fuel cell batteries for, at the time, just industrial forklifts, which meant that the forklifts didn't need to be charged for 8 hours. They could just fill it up with gas and it's running, which is a huge benefit for a warehouse like Amazon, BMW, things like that. So at the time, they were about to go out of business because it was a very expensive model. It's new. It's very hard to make money. And so the stock price dropped to like 15 cents from 40 cents because they needed to raise money quickly. And so, but I'd been listening to the conference calls and listening to the CEO, and I'm like, this guy has a plan for the next 10 years to be successful. And I believe that he can pull it off because he's very logical in how he does it. So on this conference call, he tells the shareholders and the team, he said, listen, if y'all don't believe in the company, if Wall Street doesn't believe in our company, take my salary for the next 2 years and just pay me in stock options, right? And I said, man,
that's pretty.
That motherfucker knows something. He believes in something. You know what I'm saying? And the model works is it has a nice moat. You can't just up and decide you're going to enter that space and compete. It's not like a hamburger company. You got to have technology, IP. You have all this stuff that prevents somebody like us from just all types of stuff. So I'm like, nah, this guy got something going. So I took that $4,000, I put it in 15 cents. I got like 36,300 some odd shares, right? At 15 cents. Now Plug Power, a few months later, went back to 40 cents. I sold it. That's how I got the money to start my first business, which was a carpet cleaning company, right? Now, I thought I was doing my thing, right? I'm like, yo, I've quit my electrical job.
I'm rich.
Got my carpet cleaning thing. My girl proud of me, you know what I'm saying? Got my little equipment.
Walking a little different.
You know what I'm saying? I told you. Now I'm about to flip this one because I got like 10 G's from them. So now I'm about to flip this 10 G's. I'm going to create a carpet cleaning company. I'm making 100,000, woo, woo. And I'm like, I'm thinking I'm doing something. So a year later, right, Plug Power then goes to, her dad called me. He's like, baby boy, you a genius, boy, man. How you know? Plug Power, man, that thing's like $2, some change like that, right?
Ooh, boy, I know you was sick.
I said, what? I get my phone out, I'm looking at the joint, it's showing up, it's like $1.80. I'm like, oh my God, right? So now I'm sick. By the time I look, maybe a couple weeks later, the joint ran to $3. And then later on that year, $10, right?
Oh
and I damn near lost it. You know
I know you,
but
that was an amazing lesson.
It was a huge lesson about being patient and sticking to it when you believe in something, to stick with that joint and let your trade plan out, right? Now, mind you, Plug Power ran down to about $2, $3 for the rest of the next 7 years, which was up until 2021, which was this past year. Plug Power ran all the way up from like $4 or $5 to $60-something, right? This is a company that you both of their head at the same time. Y'all gotta play that back. Yo, went from 50. Go back.
What you just told me? If you bought this at 15 cents, that's like
36,000
IPO wealth. That's like that's pre-seed type wealth. Like whenever you buying stuff before it hits the public market.
Let me do the math real quick. He says 15 cents, right?
Yep. 36,360 something shares. I don't remember.
You still remember the number.
I remember the number though. 36,300 some shares. And I was devastated. And it's still now. You know what I mean? I was like, damn. That would have
been $2.1 million from $4,000.
Jesus Christ.
I love that you're sharing the story, Kway, because that move, like people hear them numbers, that would have took a decade, right?
Most importantly, it would have took a decade, but it also took a lot of like. I didn't have an income that was sustainable to pay to anything else. I was living off of this money. Right. So when you are starting from the bottom, you don't have the luxury of just putting money away and just wait. Right. I needed money today because I need to be paid. I got baby, I got diapers. My girl at the time was in college in Norfolk State. She's not making any money. I'm not living in my parents' house. I don't have any job skills, any real skills.
I got a felony on my record, so they can't. I'm not gonna get many jobs.
Anything. You know what I'm saying? I can barely get an apartment on my own. I couldn't even get an apartment on my own. You know what I'm saying? And so it was like one of those things. Was like I'm flipping this money. 10 G's to me was like 100,000 today. You know what I'm saying? Like 10 G's, I could do a lot with at that time. So I'm like, I need to do. So I took that and I'm like, okay, now I need to take this 10,000 and put it into something that I can make consistent passive income from or income from.
At State Farm, we're committed to uplifting Black futures. In collaboration with organizations like 100 Black Men and National Urban League, State Farm provides high school students with the opportunity to learn and apply best practice strategies for saving and investing, all while offering academic support, life skills, and exposure to college access programs to prepare these students for life after high school. Check out 100blackmen.org and NUL.org to donate and learn more. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Right. Which is why, okay, let me get carpet cleaning equipment. Now I got a way to make a living for myself. So it's a give or take.
Right.
But for people out there who have the capacity to do these things, when you invest the time and effort into research and knowledge in this industry,
dividends is unlimited.
It's unlimited.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I kind of want to highlight a few things from that. Mm-hmm. With you buying at the 15 and trading it once at the 40, that was a swing trade, correct?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
How long did you hold it for? How many weeks?
At that time, I didn't even know what swing trading was. It was just me buying something that I thought was going to go up. And I think it probably took maybe like a month or so, maybe a month, 2 months, 3 months, something like that, because it fell due to news. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't fundamental news that changed the fundamentals of the company. Right. It was just news from the market reacting poorly to what these guys did. Mm-hmm. And so it didn't take long for it to recover back to where it should have been because, it wasn't. They weren't going out of business, Right. It just was the shareholders didn't appreciate them raising money at a price point that was lower than what the share price at the time was 40 cents, but they raised money at 15 cents a share.
Right. I can understand as an investor why it would seem like you're devaluing my investment.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
So that's
like almost like diluting. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very much.
So the second part that I want to highlight is, the part of you took profit when you had profit.
Yeah,
right.
Some people might be like, damn, he really did blow a bag, but profit is profit.
It's profit.
And what type of return on investment was that? That was like...
That's about 200%, right?
Like, that's still unheard of. Like, people are not doing that. Yeah. So at one point, it's like, I could have became a millionaire off of this, but I still executed a 200% trade.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's two ways
hindsight
to look at it.
Hindsight is always 20/20.
Exactly. And that was before options and all that type of stuff. That was just on shares, on penny stock shares, right? And even at this time, this was when Elon Musk, when Tesla had just IPO'd at like $40-$50 too. Mm-hmm. And so with the point being is that like I didn't have, like you said, like it was a trade. I'm thinking that was, I hit. You know what I'm saying? Like I hit. I'm like, my girls, she was freaking out because that was all the money we had at the time. Outside of the tax refund checks for having a baby, right? We was getting like maybe $3,000-$4,000 from tax refund checks, student refund checks. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, it was $300 a week. I was getting $350 a week from my job.
Yeah,
right?
You took the nest egg.
That
meant
everything.
So $10,000 was like, that was damn near a year's worth of
a year's worth of income for sure.
Yeah, so I was like, man, I had to take it and run, which again, like we teach people now, take your profit on the way up. Yeah. You don't always have to exit completely out of a trade, but take a little bit of profit off the table, scale out as the stock is going up. Mm-hmm. But if you have a strategy, if you believe in a company because of the effort and research that you put into it, see that through. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So. One of the things that I've seen too is with people entering the market today is that a lot of people are holding companies that they're just holding on just to see in hopes that the market is going to come back or the price of the company that they're invested in is going to come back. There's no actual fundamental knowledge or decision making behind that. It's just a matter of hope. And those are the type of positions that is very dangerous to be in because hope, like we say in our community, hope will get you smoked. Shout out Bucky Dollar. You know what I'm saying?
Like that.
But like that's one of the things that you just have to be very, very careful of. A lot of people that we've talked to in just recently have just been like they're holding on to a company and they don't know when to cut, but they don't want to cut it because they're like, oh, I'm already down this much. It's going to come back. And some companies really never come back. That's the reality of the situation. If you're not invested in a company with the same, fundamental and conviction that he had in the company because he's done his due diligence, right? Knowing the company's management team, knowing their balance sheets, knowing their vision of the company, you'll be sitting there forever hoping a company will come back, but it might never come back. So just gotta always make data-driven decisions.
I like that, and I'm glad you brought up the fundamental part. Yeah, because that was something else that I kind of wanted to get into is understanding that part and doing that due diligence. Right? A lot of people say be like, "Man, that takes too much time. That's too much work," or that's the boring work. Right. But the boring work is what is going to build that actual wealth for you. Exactly. And I just want to highlight that all of this information is public information. You can find out anything you want to on these companies.
Finance.
Yahoo Finance.
Yeah.
That's
many. Oh man.
I was just about to ask, can y'all highlight some of these resources that they can do that?
For sure. Yeah.
I mean, it's like you said, Yahoo Finance, investing.com is a great place.
Yeah.
Seeking Alpha is a great place. Yeah. Seeking Alpha has bars on bars.
I use them for some college stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you can literally learn so much about industry. So there's 3 things that we tell people, 3 skill sets that you need to have in order to be successful in the market. One is market knowledge. That's the foundation. Right. You need to understand what is the market. How does the market work? What are the sectors that make up the market and how do they impact each other, right? How do they get impacted by different economic indicators? For example, everybody was running into tech last year. A lot of the big name folks in the space also who were in trading and investing were telling people just buy tech all the time, right?
And not look at them. And 50% down, 60% down.
Right.
Dangerous.
Now, at the time that tech, that this was happening, especially last year, going into beginning of 2021, we all knew that interest rates were very low, right? And that money was freely flowing in the economy, and that wasn't going to last forever. We knew that there needed to be measures to control inflation, which meant that interest rates had to be risen. Well, if you understand market knowledge, you understand that when interest rates go high, tech stocks do not do very well, right? Things get much more expensive for companies to operate outside in the rest of the world as well. You know what I mean?
Is that because with tech stocks, a lot of tech companies are reliant on VC type money and like funding and that type of situation?
Well, that is definitely part of it, but also when interest rates go higher, you can't get loans. You can't
the capital is not flowing as free.
Capital's not flowing free.
People not thinking about purchasing the newest Apple device,
exactly,
versus buying groceries.
Exactly,
because now when we now start getting into those things, it becomes much more expensive for them to create their products, right? Because that also makes more things, typically be a little bit more expensive, right? Because money is getting tighter. Their staff costs and things of that nature, financing, equipment, things of that, all that type of stuff gets very tight. And so their margins start to get smaller. So it's not good for tech stocks to be in a high interest rate environment. And so knowing that,
the NBA playoffs are here, and I'm getting my bets in on FanDuel. Talk to me, Chuck GPT. What do you know?
All sorts of interesting stuff, even Charles Barkley's greatest fear.
Hey, nobody needs to know that.
New customers bet $5 and get $250 in bonus bets if you win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
21 plus and present in Virginia. Must be first online real money wager. $5 deposit required. Bonus issued is non-withdrawable bonus bets that expires 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See full terms at FanDuel.com/sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
And you understand market cycles and how sectors rotate, right? At times where you are entering into a bearish market, tech stocks are not where you want to be. You want to start moving into things like healthcare companies. Right. You're moving into things that like basic materials, right? Lumber companies, necessities,
consumer cyclicals,
consumer non-cyclicals, right?
Things like that. Break that down.
So consumer non-cyclicals are things that do not cycle in and out of fashion, basically, right?
That's like PG&E or not
exactly Procter & Gamble. So these are companies. These are things that are consumer goods that you need. You have no matter what. Toothpaste,
right? You're gonna need
refrigerators, things like that. These are necessities.
Energy,
for the most part,
things
right?
like that.
Energy companies are a big one at this time.
Massive.
And so whereas consumer non-cyclicals are things like luxury goods, luxury cars, fashion, Louis Vuitton, things of that nature, right? And so ultimately, there's different times where you want to move in. And so what big money does, institutional money, they move according to the business and market cycle. They don't move because they think something is trendy. They say, okay, interest rates are low, time for me to move my money into the tech space or this company, buy these good tech companies at a deep discount because the market's already sold them off. Now the interest rates are starting to come back down. Let's move our money back in here in preparation for the next wave of the cycle. And then when the next wave of the cycle comes, guess what happens? Everybody, here we come. Once it's already started pumping up,
they selling all this.
And then they sell.
The FOMO.
And here's the other thing. Pay attention to what big money does.
Right.
If you look last year, these CEOs were selling shares at a massive rate. They were resigning at a massive rate. The CEO resignation rate was through the roof last year, right? Beginning of this year and the end of last year.
Before the market started dipping.
So now Jack Dorsey, he leaves Twitter. He goes to Africa to do Bitcoin and crypto. Cash out all his options. He going over there. Elon Musk started selling a bunch of shares of Tesla and trying to make excuses talking about he going to sell it if this is.
And buy Dogecoin.
They start, you know what I'm saying? They start doing all these things. And Warren Buffett plays an even longer game. Warren Buffett started buying gold companies and oil pipelines, natural gas pipelines 2 years ago during 2020 when everybody was running into
residential real estate.
And a bunch of residential. So now, so this is how they play. So you need to understand market knowledge. That's the foundation of what's going to carry you through long term in the market. Then fundamentals, right? Understanding what companies are good in the space, and then technicals, when to get in and out of it. And that's how you can really get longevity in the space. Not everybody needs to be a day trader or a scalper, but you need to understand how the market works so you can take advantage of it when it's time.
I'm glad you just brought that up. I'm so happy because I 100% agree with you. Not everybody needs to be a day trader, but I do think everybody needs to be an investor at some point. Definitely. Like you need to look at it on a 5 to 10 year cycle and understand, once again, like you guys just so eloquently broke down, like, just understanding where it's moving and everything like that. So thank you for highlighting that. And I kind of wanted to talk to, what's a scalper versus a day trader?
Yeah, for sure. So a scalper is somebody that's getting in and out of positions in a matter of sometimes seconds, minutes, or even within a certain period of time, but it's a very short time frame. A day trader is somebody that's getting in and out of the position within that same day. But scalpers are very fast move. Like it just depends on what your personality is, right? For example, you have somebody that is their personality is very laid back, like him, right? We talk, you might not see him, but he's behind the camera. We talk.
On the board.
Yeah. So he said he's very laid back and things like that. He doesn't have the personality of a scalper, because scalper is somebody that's like, high twitch, like somebody that if you meet somebody, ADHD type of person, they really on the information like that, you know what I'm saying? They're trying to look at and very disciplined too at the same time, or else you'll lose everything. If you're trying to be a scalper, you're high energy, but you're making the wrong decisions. That means you're making wrong decisions at a more rapid rate. You know what I'm saying? So you definitely have to be very disciplined in that light. But 100%, you just have to see whatever personality you have, what type of lifestyle also that you have is extremely important. Just because if you're a 9-to-5 worker and you're trying to be a scalper, you're not going to be able to pay attention to your positions and the trades that you have going on. You're going to be making the wrong decisions. I was actually at work during my 9-to-5 trying to make some day trades and things like that, and I found that I lost a lot of the times. I lost because I wasn't able to pay attention. I was trying to be a day trader, which I didn't understand at the time that was a full-time job in itself.
It would have been better for you to swing in that instance.
Exactly. Focus on swinging. So once I make that mistake, and I'm one person, if I make one mistake, I'm not making the same mistake twice. You know what I'm saying? So 100%. Know your lifestyle, know what you're trying to get done, and then just make sure you tackle that and have a trading plan in place.
Right. I'm glad you shared that, Jehu. Yeah. And I wanted to ask as well, so we're talking about the different types of ways that you can make money in the market right now. If I'm somebody that's getting started out, actually, Kway just mentioned it, discipline. Discipline, right? So what is one of the biggest things, one of the biggest things that I think discipline-wise that a lot of people lack in the market is knowing when to cut losses, right? Like, y'all, we talked about it a couple times now. I fell victim to it. That hope will get you smoked. Hope will get you smoked, right? So like, can we talk about ways to mitigate risk in the market and sticking to those type of trading plans? Because everybody, I said it when I walked in, everybody got a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
First off, you just need to get the cheat code.
Gotta get the cheat code.
Because that'll give you that's why we built it.
Yeah,
exactly.
A lot of people think it's to make money. They be like, if you're gonna make all this money just because you bought. Like, no, it's not just about making a lot of money. It's about not losing a lot of money. Yeah. Because what it does is it tells you, like, look, this is the time to get out. Right. This is the sell point. Get out. And instead of you hoping on when it's going to come back, it'll tell you when it's time to get back in, right? Even if it's a little bit later than when you originally bought it, it's going to be time to get back in. It's safer. But if it's outside of that, outside of software, just in general, you need to understand technical analysis to the point. When I say technical analysis, you need to understand where are your support levels. There's something called support and there's something called resistance.
At State Farm, we're committed to uplifting Black futures. In collaboration with organizations like 100 Black Men and National Urban League, State Farm provides high school students with the opportunity to learn and apply best practice strategies for saving and investing, all while offering academic support, life skills, and exposure to college access programs to prepare these students for life after high school. Check out 100blackmen.org and nul.org to donate and learn more. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
a level that a stock goes to that, you know, the market thinks is too expensive will become a resistance point. As soon as it hits that point, it's going to start coming back down, right? And so let's say you're looking at a stock that's $100 now and it hits 105 and now it starts coming back down, comes back to 100 and it bounces back up and it goes back to 105. And so to start making something like that, right? Like a zigzag. And so that becomes your resistance. 105 becomes your resistance. 100 becomes your support. So when it starts nearing 100, you can reasonably assume that chances are to start bouncing back up. And there's ways to confirm that through different candlestick patterns and things of that nature, right? And then the same thing at 105. When it hits 105 and, you know, you start seeing certain bearish candlesticks, which are candlesticks that are negative, right? Have a negative implication, that chances are it's going to start coming back down. And so you look at these levels and you place your exits, your stop losses, what we call stop loss, shortly below those levels, right? And there's a way to do that, and it's a little bit more complex. I can't really give it, you know, it's hard. It's hard.
Especially without showing,
and without you having a certain understanding. You know what I'm saying? Like I could give it, but it's like it's going to be confusing.
I really want to get into technical indicators, but
I would love to.
Like I'm not sure if everybody's familiar with it. Because I know there's a few that I am familiar with. I've seen you guys before, right? Like RSI, MACD. You mentioned them earlier. The moving averages, right? One that I still don't understand, I never really bothered to, Bollinger Bands, right? These are different indicators. So can we kind of get into those technical indicators and how you use them?
Right. All right, so cool. So, and just on that note, since we're going to touch on indicators anyway, I'll give you another one, which is how we set stop losses, right? You use the ATR indicator. ATR indicator is an indicator that tells you the true range of a stock over a particular period of time, right? So let's say you have an ATR of 0.8, right? That essentially means that the stock typically moves about 80 cents, you know, on average throughout a particular day. And so if you set your stop loss 80 cents below the nearest support level, that'll keep you in a trade a little bit longer so you don't just get fake stopped out. Right, because sometimes the stock will drop down real quick past your stop loss, sell your shit, and then bounce back.
And goes to the moon. Forex, that used to happen to me so often. Oh man, that would be sick. You're right too.
Exactly. So you use ATR to counteract that. Now again, this is how we built the cheat code, so that we implemented a lot of these things into it, so that you don't have to try to automatically do it. It gives you these things all together.
So the cheat code is an algorithm, correct?
Right. Yeah, I kind of wanted to get into it.
Cheat code is an algorithm, and the algorithm uses different indicators.
Yeah, so it's basically an indicator set that we utilize, and we took different data points to create our own system. Right, it's a trading system, right? And so essentially, and I'll get to the traditional indicators as well, because people who just are out there trading with or without cheat code, I want them to also understand that. But basically, what it does is it takes volatility, right, from the market. It says, okay, the stock is typically this volatile for
X
on a normal
period.
on an X amount of period. So like let's say for the past 14 days, it's been this volatile, right? But we now start to detect more volatility in the price action, right? Which means the stock is starting to move a little bit more erratic, and it basically will say, okay, we believe it's going to say, all right, it's being more volatile, but it's going to be more volatile in this direction. Right, so to give you an indication that not only do you have a buy signal because it's crossed a certain threshold, but now it tells you how strong the trend is, because now the volatility has spiked and it's spiked in an upward direction, which means you have momentum. And we like to use volatility as traders, because if the stock is flatlines, you can't really, there's not a whole lot of money to be made unless you use certain option strategies, right? So once volatility spikes in an upward direction and I know I have momentum, that's where I want to get in. And so it's basically a series of indicators that we developed to replace a lot of things that we found were inefficient. Things like RSI, things like MACD, those things we found to be lagging or false signals a lot of times. And so we created our own set of tools that once you line them up together and you get confirmation, you have a high chance of success in the direction that you want. And even if it works against you, even if you get into a trade and it doesn't work out the way it does, you're going to get a signal to sell almost immediately. So you're going to minimize your loss very quickly.
Right.
So I'm saying it's not 100% accurate. Nothing can be 100% accurate.
But it's a great tool to have in your toolbox.
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm glad
this
you
is
said
fire,
that.
guys. I don't know if y'all said that. This is fire.
I'm glad you said that 100% accurate, because you said something earlier in the podcast too. You used the word predict. because nobody understands exactly what's going to go on.
Right.
And sometimes people see gurus and stuff
Right,
like that
right.
online.
Yeah.
They be like, nah, he told me it's going to this.
Nah.
He told, but
nope.
You can't understand. You don't know 100% what's going to go on because you never know. We might wake up and not fucking China bombing somebody else, and this shit just fucked up everything.
Exactly.
So the world plays into a lot of the factors too. Right. But I kind of want to get back into that cheat code part.
Right.
How the fuck y'all came up with this shit? Because this shit's all real. This shit's all real intricate, man.
Like it's crazy. It came out of a necessity, out of our community, honestly, because like you said, our community, our group really started very organically, right? Yeah. With just family and friends, 16 people in a group chat on Instagram DM. Just got them in front of the information. Once I saw it was working, it was just us two, really.
Were you the initial student of the cheat code in a sense?
That's what I keep telling people. I was literally one of the first, the first. I wasn't one of the. I was the first student of our entire organization.
Bro, I come down from my apartment. He used to call me downstairs when there'd be some girl in the lobby or something that's bad. He'd be like, "Yo, come down, shorty down." I'll come out, try to pull up and talk to her. And then I stay down there, and I just be down there talking with him. Like, bro, just got into this trade. Yeah, and we'd sit down there and talk
for
the
hours.
whole time. And he started implementing because he worked at the front desk.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, literally for hours. I was like, man. So everything that once we started bringing more people on, created a group chat. I was like, all right, guys, I've been through this. You know what I'm saying? So if you guys are trying to change your situation, the best that I can do is put you in front of the teacher, put you in front of the educator. And if whoever is really trying to get it out the mud, they gonna get it, right? So it's just a matter of once that started, okay, boom. Our community, everybody started coming in. So technical analysis is something that's daunting and could be, a little bit intimidating at first. When you see a chart, you're like, yo, what is this? You know what? It's not for me. I was not really good at math, blah, blah, blah. A lot of people say that, and that's really an excuse. And people don't understand the value and how long this could go, right? Essentially, this information, once you get it and you implement it, it could be something that you could be the first person that changes the entire generation of your entire bloodline, which 100%. It's literally that serious.
And it happens
you know what I'm saying?
every day in our community.
Every day.
People who would never have had opportunity.
Literally.
Crazy opportunity in this space. You know what I'm saying?
Unlimited. Literally tap the market as a wealth engine, right? Utilize it for what it actually is. So people will come in the community like, oh, technical analysis is intimidating. And we're like, man. And for the longest time, it just kept being one thing that people just kept saying, like, yo, this charting stuff.
It's too hard.
It's too hard. Like, you know what I'm saying? I got family, I got kids, I got, work and this. I got 2 jobs, 3 jobs. Like, we're like, yo, we got to create something that's going to simplify this technical analysis thing. We got to figure out something. So in Kway, we literally got to researching down, and this was during the pandemic too. Yeah. So we had all the time locked in. You know what I'm saying? It's either you're gonna use your time to do something productive, or you're just gonna waste the time away or bullshit.
You know what
I'm saying?
Scrolling on TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. For hours. And you know what I'm saying? We're like, yo. So we got down in the mud, man. Head down and just friends literally went. 0 dark 30 on everything. You know what I'm saying? And just
my girl was pissed, bro, because she was pregnant at the time, and I'm sleeping out in the living room.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Literally. I'm got the blanket over my head. I'm just 4 or 5 in the morning locked in trying to figure out how to really put it together.
Learning the coding language, all kinds of stuff, man. So that's pretty much how it came about.
You coded it yourself?
Yeah, the first version.
The first version was very basic. It's not anything like what we have today.
Right.
But it
still was amazing, though. It was still honestly, good. I don't want to even downplay it because we still made a lot of money with the first version. Our community, we had it beta tested. People came back, they're like, yo, I was hitting and most importantly, like he said, you know what I'm saying, knowing when to sell is literally one of the biggest things for everybody. People will literally profit watch and be like, yo, nah, let me wait till I get $1 more. $1 more. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, boom, all your profit, you just burned all your profit. Now, not only have you burned your profit, you burned your initial investment, you're now in the negative. So it's it's just one of the things that it became just a revolutionary thing. So after the first version, man, we just took it from there. Got feedback, massive feedback.
From the team. Yo, can we add this? Can you add that? It'd be dope if we had a way to know this, that, and third. Yeah. So as they giving feedback, we going back. I'm like, okay, this is outside my skill set. We get developers start adding to it and things of that nature.
Right.
So
I'm glad you talking about this too, because a lot of times, and I definitely want to get back into this a little bit more, but minimal viable product, right?
MVP.
Like a lot of people will hold off on putting things out and thinking, oh man, I need to make it perfect or I need to do this. But the fact that you just got it out into the street and then waited for the market to tell you what you needed instead of telling people what or thinking that you knew what people needed is super important.
Yeah, I think that's the most important part about community also, right? Like when you got a community of people that is there, especially in business, a lot of business owners, the old model was looking at business as just, okay, product, purchaser.
Right.
That's it. But when you have a community around the product, you have a natural place, testing ground. You can get real-time feedback about what the larger overall market would want, right? And so that was a huge thing, to your point,
Did the community ever give y'all some overzealous stuff like, yo, we need this, and then y'all just like, we can't do that.
They still do. But we're like, we gotta slow roll our way into stuff. But
but they gave us some stuff that we've been working on. Like, so we got some AI components that we've been working behind the scenes on, some machine learning stuff. We got its own app being developed now. With damn near after 2 years and hundreds of thousands of dollars of trying to get this thing right. We finally got it, to the point we're gonna be releasing it soon. And we also have the new Cheat Code Pro version that does have some of the stuff that we didn't think was possible before, right? But now we've been able to include in this new version, which is actually gonna blow the top off a lot of stuff. Because any of the competitor products that are out there that that would be competitive to what we have, this is a whole new new level, right? So they're going to have to keep up.
This is Shaquille O'Neal. Do you ever scream at your printer, call it naughty names, or hurl empty ink cartridges across the room? You likely suffer from cartridge conniptions caused by ink cartridges constantly running out of ink. Thankfully, the Epson EcoTank printer is the perfect cure. It's cartridge-free, conniption-free, prescription-free, with big ink tanks and a ridiculous amount of ink. So you can finally kiss expensive cartridges goodbye. The Epson EcoTank, just feel and chill. Available at Amazon and Best Buy.
I got so with Cheat Code, is this primarily for purchasing shares or is this primarily for options?
I'm glad you said that because most of our community, and first off, it's for stocks, Forex, futures, and crypto. It doesn't matter what asset class.
It doesn't matter.
If it has a chart, it works. I want to even play around with seeing how it works on real estate charts or something. You know what I'm saying? Type thing. So basically, it works on all 4 asset classes. But most of our community is options, right? They trade options. Most of the people who've entered the stock market space the past few years have been options, even though they're not trading options in the way that options were meant to be traded, which was things like spreads and strangles, things that way you can benefit off of up or down, and limit your downside, limit your upside, but you have a very fixed risk profile. Now everybody just uses it as leverage to go calls or puts. But to your question, it works even better for long-term share investors. And I wish I want to really make a campaign to really reach the long-term investors, because a lot of long-term investors believe that only fundamentals matter, right? And so over the long term, sure, you'll be right. However, you over the long term, chances are you're not going to lose buying the S&P. But buying the S&P at the right time, right, or buying Apple at the right time, buying Microsoft at the right time, and selling it at the right time, taking profit off the table at the right time, will maximize your profit potential tremendously. And not all the time can somebody like an average person afford to long-term watch their portfolio down for 2-3 years. They might need that capital. We go into a recession. You're going to need their capital.
And you want to sell before it start taking that hit.
Yeah, sure. In the next 5 years, 10 years, sure, you'll be right. Apple probably will go higher than what it was when you bought it at the beginning of 2021 when it was whatever, right? Or Tesla, whatever it may be. But, you would rather sell at the top, right, and buy back at the bottom and increase your share profile. We've actually done a test, taking $1,000 in Apple back in 2003 up until now. I think it works out to like you would have made like 300-something thousand from $1,000 investment in Apple, right? However, had you utilized the cheat code and bought at the right times and sold at the right times and things of that nature and really played it like that, you would have $1.2 million, which is a 400% plus difference, right? Between
which
those
is
two.
Massive.
And so when you start talking about that type of stuff, yes, it's a tremendous thing to go from 1,300, obviously, right? But when you just look at overall returns, you can supercharge your returns by combining technical analysis and fundamental analysis and doing both, right? At a high level.
Right.
So.
Not wanting to maximize your gains is just strictly being ignorant when there's a way to
lazy.
be able to do it and being lazy.
Like if you're taking a passive approach when you could be taking that active approach and mending it with the
honestly, it's really passive for real. It's like 8 trades or 12 trades in like
over 10 years. You're talking about taking a trade. You're talking about taking one. You take a sell trade and a buy trade like once every like 3 years.
Literally.
You know what I'm saying? Because if you even go back and look at the Apple chart, using the cheat code, right, you'll see that it was in a bull trend according to cheat code for 3 years, at a time. 3 years, 2 years, 4 years. So these are long term situations.
You avoid some of those high tax.
Exactly, the long capital gains.
Long-term capital gains, right?
All that.
And so it's like, there's no reason not to. It's just a matter of, again, like you said, ignorance, not knowing, right? Not wanting to know, just thinking that, whatever you got going it works fine. But if you really want to maximize your income potential, it's something that I think everybody should look into.
Right.
So what's some of y'all largest trades since using cheat code?
Man.
Oh, since using cheat code?
Man, I'd say probably like 40,000 in a day.
Yeah. My biggest trade was on Moderna. And so on Moderna, I took a put on Moderna last year. Was it earlier this year? I don't remember. I think it was last year.
Yeah.
It was last year.
Yeah, last year.
Moderna went way overbought, way outside of our reversal bands. And to your point about Bollinger Bands, way better than Bollinger Band. Our reversal bands are way better.
Yeah.
And so basically it was way overbought on the reversal bands, had a yellow candle, red indicator, everything lined up and was like, yo, this is going to come down.
Yeah.
So I took a put option on Moderna, put 30,000 a put option, and did 145,000 in a day.
Yeah.
It was one trade that thing came straight down the next day. I'm talking like, literally was one big ass candle.
Elevator down.
Took the elevator down. Escalator up, elevator
my
down.
guy knows.
I know elevator down.
Only traders and investors will catch on to something like that. I was like, oh yeah,
elevator down.
That's right.
Like,
that's
those are
exactly
key
what
terms.
happened.
Yeah.
I'm talking about a day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's crazy.
And then we also did a swing trade.
I was about to say Lucid. Yeah, I forgot
we did a swing trade on Lucid.
After I said that.
That was more for fun. We did a show called Due Diligence, which we're going to be bringing back soon. So everybody out there who's watching Due Diligence,
you might see it on TV, God knows.
Yeah, it was a really fire stock show that we did. We took like a Tesla, we raced it against a Lambo. Well, we talked about Tesla as a stock. Right. So we do fun stuff with companies.
You've seen Top Gear? It's like something like that, but for the financial markets.
That's hard.
Yeah, it's just
that's
tough.
hard.
It's fun.
I'm not going to lie to you. It's fun.
So we did an episode on Lucid, and when we went out to Cali, we saw the Lucid.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. It's tax season, and we're all a bit tired of numbers. But here's one you need to hear. $16.5 billion. That's how much the IRS flagged for possible identity fraud last year. Now here's a good number. 100 million. That's how many data points LifeLock monitors every second. If your identity is stolen, they'll fix it. Guaranteed. Save up to 40% your first year at LifeLock.com/podcast. Terms apply.
Showroom.
This was before Lucid anybody knew, honestly.
Yeah, people weren't really paying attention to Lucid at the time. So we on the floor, we're talking to the guy, we're seeing the car. I'm like, yo, we should get one of these, right?
Yeah.
But it's $175,000. So I'm like, man, or 100 and
it's around
the Dream Edition.
Like
it was 175-ish.
And so I'm like, man, I'm not about to spend that type of money on this shit. But, and the guy, while we're talking to him, he's like, yeah, man, we got already X amount pre-sold.
Right.
And I'm looking at the stock. The stock is down crazy. So I'm like, you know what?
Yeah.
Let's take 10,000.
It was still a SPAC at the time.
No, it wasn't a SPAC.
It was already transitioned.
Yeah,
SPAC days.
Yeah,
I know.
Those were good days,
goddamn.
So we took $10,000, we put it into some swing trades, and we documented it. We were like, yo, we posted on IG, like, yo, we could put 10 G's in this in Lucid. We're gonna try to trade it up to buy 2 Lucid cars, right?
Yeah.
And so we traded it back and forth for like a little while, swing trading it. We did 10,000, like 30 to 40, and then we posted it and showed it on my Instagram and shit like that. Yeah. And then we caught a mean, vicious run, right? When that joint went from 40 something to 170, 150 something. When they're going for $10,000 to $150,000 over the course of like 2 months.
Yeah.
Right now, it's just trading back and forth using the cheat code, using technicals.
Yeah.
All right. And so, So basically, you know, we're supposed to buy the luchas. You know,
we did something better with it.
Yeah, we put it towards like actually developing halfway houses, which is our nonprofit.
Yo, that's avenue. A lot better.
Exactly.
Right. That's what I was
It's
saying.
a financial literacy halfway house. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yo, that is amazing. Big ups to y'all. Hey, that is a fucking amazing, bro.
Appreciate you. Yeah. So that's something we're in progress of doing now. We're actually partnered with one of my bros out in Cleveland. In Cleveland, he's out in Cleveland, but he's in Ohio. And he's also doing something like that. So we're gonna do some collabs on that end. But yeah, that's what ended up happening. But yeah, so I mean, there's a lot of big trades like that. And granted, it's not an everyday thing. And when I tell people, you hear those numbers, it's like that's not the goal. The goal is to get 20% a day, 10% a day. You know, consistent
that shit
income.
is life changing, bro. Because like people hear 20% a day again, going back to the 200% you were talking about earlier. People, whenever it's $100, it's small, right? When it's $1,000, it's small. $200 is not gonna change your life. But if you did $200 on 1,000, and then you did 20% again the next day, where it was 20% of 1,200, and then you did it again, and now that compound effect starts taking it in. Even if it's 10%, you're doing so much better versus like. Because I know that was something that used to get me with options, right? I would sit here and I would see it all on Instagram because people FOMO again.
Of course,
you
FOMO,
would see people making 150, 200, 600%, and you thinking you need to get that every trade, and that's unrealistic. That 10 to 20%, you are banking.
Banking.
That's
like the annual return on the stock market that people or like institutions actually look for is like 8 to 10. So it's like you out here making for a year. You out here like, you know what I'm saying, sitting here making 20%, 10%, 15%. Take your money, run, live to fight another day, do the same thing again, just stay disciplined. The compounded interest will always outpace just the home runs. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, 100%. I feel you.
Less home runs, more size. If you can get
more base hits.
More base hits.
If you did it at $1,000, imagine doing it at 10,000. 20% of 10,000 is 2 bands. Now you talking a little different, right? Now you walking with your chest out a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
And then on top of that, the home runs come more frequently. It's just like you take somebody like a Jose Canseco or somebody like that, whatever them type before the steroids and all that shit. But you know,
we'll give Aaron Judge right now since he's been going crazy.
The steroids is like the Cheat Code. You take the Cheat Code, that's the steroids.
Get you yoked up.
Get your stocks traded yoked
But
up.
the thing is, you got to take because they've taken thousands of swings over their days, right? And then once they've gotten to a certain point, the home runs become much more frequent, right?
When they'll hit the ball,
they know how to do it, how to manage the wind. They know how to put the force in the right way. It becomes second nature, like Jay said. So you're gonna get the home runs as you start doing it more consistently. You get the consistent base hits over a period of time. You start getting 1 home run every now and then. Then you start getting 2 home runs every now and then. Now all of a sudden you're hitting home runs on a frequent basis, and everybody else looking at you like, I want to do that. Well, you got to go through the process of taking those base hits. You know what I'm saying? You got to go through that process and build it up before you're gonna really consistently hit those base hits and know how to actually execute that. You know what I mean?
100%.
And I kind of want to highlight something that y'all was just talking about. David just talked about it. Also saw my girl Terry Ijeoma. She was talking about it, right? You know, we were talking about the account sizes. As you move up, as you're compounding, once you start to get these larger account sizes, and you have $10,000, $100,000, and you're able to execute. Say, okay, I'm gonna put 20 bands on this trade.
It's way easier.
Then it's easier for you to start hitting those home runs. Or once again, you don't have to hit a home run. You hit a solid 20% base hit, and you still good.
And it feels a lot better. It feels a lot better at that time because now your 20% turns into $5,000, $6,000 a hit. You know what I'm saying?
20,000.
Even the Moderna plate I did, I put like $30,000 in that trade, $20,000, $30,000. I don't remember what it was, but it was a good amount of money. That's damn near it's a car, right? Like
I mean, that's a full year's income.
Like I would have never done that.
That's some people income for real.
I would have never been able to do that if I just had $30,000 to my name. You know what I'm saying? Like I would have never done that.
Unless you was just a risky bastard.
Unless I was a risky bastard, right? And so it's like that's where things open up. And then on top of that, here's the other component of it: the emotional management. Trading is 80-90% emotional, right? And so
important.
I don't feel if I got a portfolio size that's whatever it is, and where $20,000-$30,000 isn't a whole lot. I'm not gonna feel that. I'm not gonna really care as much to stress out about it.
Right.
And I'll be much more likely to let my trade play out the way I want it than freaking out and cutting it super early or right? Like, you know, I'm not stressing about it. When it's all you got, you be like, it drops down a little bit. You're like, let me just cut my losses.
You'll rather take a loss. You'll literally rather take a loss than like wait for it to play the trade to play out.
And so it's all about psychology. That's why I tell people a lot of times your success in the market has a lot to do with your mental health, your psychological success, right? Because if you know how to manage your emotions, you know how to manage yourself, you know how to stay disciplined, you know how to, really operate, and you just at a good place in your own mental space, you'll find that the market will just start opening up to you. But when you come in operating from a place of scarcity, you're operating from a place of, panic and fear or greed and overexcitement because you made a little bit of money, right? Either one of those extremes you're going to lose.
Right.
Either one of them. I've never seen somebody be overly greedy or overly fearful and actually be successful in the market for any length of time. Ever. The people who are successful, you'll start to find they are confident, they level-headed, it doesn't phase them one way or another. They made $200,000 a day, they lost $200,000. I lost $200,000 in a night in crypto in 2018, right? Went from $5,000 to $220,000, and at that time, $5,000 was damn near all I had, right? But I was able to flip it because I caught the bull market at the right time. I was leveraged using the right leverage instruments, and I made a fuck ton of money. But in one night, because I was over leveraged and being overly greedy and overly confident in myself, right, in the market, one single night I took a shower at like 2 a.m. And because at the time the Chinese and Koreans, they used to crash the market overnight. So we stay out, set my alarm clock for 3 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock. I'll wake up, check the market, go back to sleep, right? And I went and took a shower. Everything was cool. You see my portfolio. I'm feeling real bossy, right?
Man's playing that music in the shower, like
yeah, I'm cool, feeling real bossy. You know what I'm saying? I go to sleep. I wake up at 5, right? Alarm clock ring, hit 5 o'clock. Check my account, $30,000.
Then go back to sleep for that 7 o'clock.
Oh yeah, I bet.
I woke my girl up at the time, and this is difficult, but I woke my girl up at the time, like, yo, I think I lost all money, man. Like, I lost everything. Like, she was like, what do you mean? And we start going in. I'm like, bro. And I'm thinking it's a glitch on the phone. I'm like, yo, it's got to be something wrong.
It's not a glitch in the matrix.
And ain't no customer service at the time. This is an overseas crypto joint called Bitfinex at the time. There was even a thing on Twitter. It was called getting Bitfinexed, like, as a thing. You know what I'm saying? They're like, yo, because the platform was just a whole lot of reasons why it was like the Robin Hood of today, right? But for crypto, and there was no customer service, nobody for me to talk to, and it wasn't anybody's fault. But I got liquidated, lost $200,000 something in the night, and that crushed me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally had to go back.
Were you yield farm?
No, that was just literally trade. I was trading. I caught different trades. XRP, I caught XRP from 25 cents to $1 plus, and I was trading that on like 3x leverage. Caught Bitcoin trades on 10x. I was using another platform called BitMEX. I could trade 10, 25x leverage on that, right? And so, long story short, made a bunch of money, lost a bunch of money, but I had to rebuild from scratch. That's how I ended up meeting. That's actually how we ended up meeting, because I lost everything, had to go back to zero. As a grown man with like a 6-year-old, 5-year-old, right? I'm out here, got to go back to collecting like Uber scooters, like the Lyft scooters.
When they first get it out,
Bird scooters, charge them up at his apartment. They gave me like a little room. I go get the load the scooters up on a van, go charge them in the apartment building, take them out, go put them out again, like just to make ends meet. And I made my money back in the market. Like, I literally came back from the market with like $2,000 and got back to where I needed to be. And so, long story short is that you got to be able to take those type of losses. If you want those type of gains, you're gonna make $1 million. You got to be able to take $100,000-$200,000 losses and be okay. You know what I'm saying?
Man, you just spoke some heavy talk, Kway. And like, one of the biggest things I took from that is something I seen Master P say once. Once you got the knowledge, you can always get the money back.
Always.
You've had the knowledge, you had the experience, you made that money. So it's like, for you, it's not unrealistic to touch it again. Even though you lost it all. Like, because some people, that would break them. I had $200,000 and I lost it. And that would be it. Like, man, I'm never touching the market again. But you let that break you because you had that knowledge.
Facts.
And I wanted to get into cheat code just a little bit. I know we're going to have to wrap just in a bit. But with cheat code, how do people use it? So, like, is this on
is this something that you can use like in your brokerage account? If I'm on Thinkorswim, can I use Cheat Code there, or is it like do I have to go on TradingView?
Yeah, it's on TradingView right now. By the end of the year, to be on our own app, so you'll just download the Cheat Code app. Right now, our community and all of our offerings are a little bit segmented, right? Our LMS, our learning system for our, we call Cheat Code Trading Academy, see stocks, Forex, futures, and crypto, all 4 trading asset classes. For anybody who doesn't know what futures is, it's just commodities trading, things like gold, oil, gas, corn, wheat. We teach all 4 trading asset classes in that, and that's a structured curriculum for 12 months. That is on a separate platform. Our Discord is where our community is hosted, and then our software, Cheat Code Algo, is where it's hosted on TradingView. Now, by the end of the year, the app is going to go live, where all 3 of those things will be on one centralized place. So the charting system will be there. The Cheat Code Algo will be there. The community will be there. The learning classes and courses will be there, all inclusive inside of that app. And then the next phase of that is adding a brokerage component to it, so you actually be able to trade from the app as well. So like that's the next phase that we're working on for 2023. Right, is being able to add that.
Again, you're thinking big, and I love it.
Man. 100%. But right now, for the traders out there, you can use Cheat Code no matter the brokerage that you're currently using. You can trade, essentially take the information that you're getting from TradingView, which is where our software is hosted right now, and carry out the trades on, if it's Forex, for example, MetaTrader. If it's, stocks, crypto, TD Ameritrade, Webull, Robinhood, et cetera. So you can take the information and carry out the trades wherever it may be, for stocks, options, futures, like he said, any asset class you can use it for. So man.
That's dope, dog. That's dope.
Man, 100%. We definitely got to get y'all brothers back on. Like
I said, 100%, man. There's a lot of information.
It's a lot more that we can definitely dive into. We definitely going to have to tap in with y'all again.
Part 2.
So I do want to get into a couple of our last questions for you guys. For sure. Man. So my favorite question to ask everybody, I want to ask you both, Jehu and Kway, what is a personal finance tip that you live by that you'd like to share with our audience?
Yeah, for sure. I think what I would say is that there's 3 things as a person that's trying to find success with personal finance. There's service, right? You can provide service for people. You can provide a product that you can sell for people, right? And I think if you don't have any of those 2, you have to make sure that the skill set is a 3rd thing. You have to make sure you master a skill set that you can always go back. Like he went to 0, he was always able to build back to 7 figures from 0. You know what I'm saying? So you got to be able to either have a skill set, a service that you're providing to people, or have a product that you're selling for people that will help people get to wherever they're trying to go.
I love it.
Yeah, that's a bar. Your skill set is critical, man. It's massive. Like your income is a direct reflection of your skill set.
Right.
How deep your skill set is.
Right.
And to add to that, I think I would say on that tip, it's 2 things actually. One is get your goddamn business credit together. I don't care which, if you got a business or don't got a business. Get you an LLC, and build business credit and get multiple LLCs. For every idea that you've ever thought of potentially make, because everybody got an idea that they want to make a business, right? Whatever that idea may be, go out there, start an LLC for it, go through the proper procedures, get it situated, get a business bank account, put $200 into a secured credit card from Bank of America or Wells Fargo, secured business credit card, start building that business credit, so that way when you are ready to implement that idea, you can go and get the funding for it, as opposed to trying to save your money to do it, right? A lot of other demographics, right, they start off with capital. They start off with resources when they want to go start a business, right? They get a business loan from the SBA, they get a business loan from friends and family, whatever it may be, and they go out there and start Trump. $1 million business loan, right, from his daddy.
There's a guy that just hit big on BBY, I think Bed Bath
and Beyond.
And he's talking about he raised money through his family. Friends and family for like $20 million. We're like, what? What kind of friends and family?
Our community,
that's not the norm. So what are you saying? It's extremely powerful.
So if you don't got friends and family like that, but there are banks that will lend to you, right? It's not even about your personal. It's not about you as an individual. Yes, there's discriminatory practices against people that look like us, however, but you can't discriminate against a business, right?
An entity.
And so, long story short, for every idea, the more you have, the better, right? For the reason of Access to capital. The age is there. If you started today, 2 years from now, you got a 2-year corporation. You don't have to wait and when you go to the bank and say, "Oh, we would give you a loan, but your corporation has to be over 2 years old."
Yeah. Make sure you file taxes.
Yeah, you can't get any money. So make sure whatever idea, whether you consider yourself an entrepreneur, don't consider yourself an entrepreneur, make sure you do that. You can utilize it for a lot of things, right? Hire for anybody who has a product out there. You got kids, and your kids wear your product in pictures and things like that. Your kid is a model for your product, right? You can pay your child as a check. Into their LLC, their modeling LLC or whatever it is, right? And now you have established contract between two entities. By the time that child grows up, they have a corporation that has established income, has paid taxes. It's an 18-year-old entity, a 10-year-old entity that has established track. They can now go get financing for whatever it is that they felt like doing, right? So that's just one thing. And I'm no, super duper big business credit expert or anything like that, but I know in our business, I wish somebody had really sat me down and forced me to do it at the beginning, because we did like $5.2 million our first year, right, in revenue, and that was great. But guess what? Everything we did, the app, the staff, everything was cash out of pocket. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So we reinvested everything back into the business, right? We got to see dividends back, right? Had we had business credit, been able to leverage that 5.2, we could have got $5 million in credit lines. Easily. Just done everything in credit lines and never even touched the $5 million in cash.
Could have preserved y'all capital.
Could have preserved capital and used somebody else's money.
Yeah.
So had we had that set up, right? And so we went back and did that now. So each one of our subsidiary entities has their own LLC, that has their own established track record and history and all that type of stuff. But yeah, I just wish, it makes me sick to my stomach sometimes when I think about it, like, damn, we could have been so much farther ahead when it came to that. Right. So that's one. The second thing would be invest in yourself, right? Like Jay, it kind of plays off of what Jay said about skill set. The best ROI you will ever get in this life is not in the stock market, it's not in real estate, it's literally in yourself. Because when you know how to implement certain things in real estate, in stocks, or business, or whatever it is, you, like you said, you will make the money no matter what, right? If you know how to set up a podcast and how to market a podcast, that's a skill set.
Skill set, for sure.
No matter what, you can start another one, you can do whatever it was, and you can get it to blow up no matter what, because you invested time and energy learning the craft and mastering the craft, right? Whatever it is that you do, go out there and find mentors, coaches, study tools. YouTube, study books, research anything that you can to invest in yourself, because the more you know, the more you're going to grow, right? The more you learn, the more you earn, is what we say. So at the end of the day, the more you invest in your knowledge, the more it's going to go. And the best place to get that knowledge to me is from another person who is already successful at doing it, right? So reach out to somebody that you know is successful in whatever field you're trying to get into, and whatever you got to do to get them to give it to you, whether they have a program, don't have a program, do that. Because I can study how to build a car all day long, 7 ways to Sunday, right? I can read books until I do, and then until I have somebody who can, like, if I read it, I can have a good idea how to put this car together. I watch it on YouTube, okay, I get a good idea. I study it deeply, I can get a good idea. I even have to take a class on how to do it, great. But until I got somebody who's like, yo, man, when this model engine goes in, sometimes you got to nudge it a certain kind of way, because that's just how this 1972 Chevy works, right? It's going to save me a whole lot of time and headache and figuring out those shortcuts, because that person has already had the experience. It's going to shorten the learning curve. And so those are two things I wish I knew starting out the gate when it came to this. So
get the cheat code, man. Don't try to fight. The trend.
I love it. I love it. So I got my 3 questions. I got 3 rapid questions. For both of y'all. Are y'all frugal, or are you a flexer?
Both.
I wouldn't say
both.
No, I'm not a flexer, but there's certain things that I like to cross off my. I just have certain things that I'm like, oh damn. When I was a kid, I was always like, man, I gotta have this. I gotta have this. I gotta have this. So I guess I wouldn't say I'm a flexer, but I am frugal. Actually.
He's fucking frugal. Bro, he was. I'll say he was.
Yeah, I was. He was frugal. This guy still am to a certain degree, because I understand the value.
He'll be
of
like,
money.
He'll argue with somebody like Chipotle over like, it's $15.
I don't give a damn if it's
for
$500 a steak. If it don't taste as good to me and satisfying to me as Chipotle does, you know what I'm saying, or whatever food I like does. I ain't going for it, man. Yeah.
So I'm not a flexer per se. You know what I mean? In the traditional sense of like trying to flex with like jewelry and stuff like that. But
he expands on experience, which is dope.
I'll spend money. Like if it's something I want, I'm gonna put it up. I'm gonna get it. I don't really care what the cost is. Right? If it's if I see the value of it, I'm gonna get it. You know what I'm saying? So it's kind of a catch-22. So I look at it like I don't even try to manage like expenses so much as I'm just like I just need to generate a lot of money so I can get what I want. You know what I mean? That's just how I operate, which isn't the best personal finance.
But still, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you generate expenses. It's different than fucking off your money on a bunch of bullshit.
You're crossing off the habits. It's like you learn the skill set so you can generate a lot of money to be able to, you know, take care of whatever else you want to do. That's at the end of the day, you got to enjoy this money some way, shape, or form. You can't just be living and be miserable with your money, because they say a lot of rich people are not as, you know, happy. But however, a lot of people that don't have money, you'll never know what that feels like. You want to be able to choose between like being happy or not happy. You know what I'm saying? To a certain degree. Yeah.
So my second question, how are you building wealth for your legacy? What are you doing?
Building, you know, a company, trust, asset protection, something that we've been talking about very recently, quite a lot. Actually, it's been coming up quite a lot. But making sure that everything that we build is something that we could pass down to our families, or something that could be, essentially, if we have a vision of going, you know, public. So that's something that, you know, our shares, etc. Something that we could pass down to our kids. Getting into real estate, massive real estate. Syndications and things like that of sorts, being able to pass that down and also going back to Africa. But
and also on top of the traditional things and life insurance and things of that nature, but also both of us do a great job of investing into our kids' education. So we both teach our kids. Like his son is a beast when it comes. Business. His favorite show is Shark Tank. You watch Shark Tank
nothing else.
like a mug. On my son, I got him right.
He got that dog in him.
He got that dog in him for sure.
He's gonna be a beast.
Every single day he asks me like, yo, if we're done with everything during the day, he'd be like, yo, can we watch one episode of Shark Tank at least before we go to sleep?
Beg.
He would literally beg to watch
We're coming from the office. He'll bring him to the office, and we're on the way home. It's like 12 midnight.
Literally
6.
Yeah.
He'd be like, Dad, can we watch Shark Tank when we get home?
Before we
just
go
one episode.
I'm like, boy, you gotta go to sleep. But he'd be watching. Like that's a show though, but 100%.
And so we got my son. My son's 10, and I got him. He's writing books right now. He does stories and stuff like that. So you know, he loves watching movies. So I'm like, well, you gonna sit here and watch movies all day long? You might as well make your own storylines, right?
Man.
So I got him writing books. He has a
and
stock
he's vicious
book.
with it.
Too. He's got a stock book that he was working on, like ABCs for stocks and things of that nature. So those things have him doing so that way he can build, he can, you know, put that income into his LLC and do that type of stuff. So the reason why I say that as far as investor education for the kids is I believe generational wealth is informational, right? I could pass down all the assets in the world to you, but if you're an idiot,
you're gonna blow.
You know what I'm saying? If you don't know how to turn $1 into $2, it doesn't matter how many dollars I give you.
You'll blow it all off for the next generation.
And so it's really about investing in kids' education.
Like the Vanderbilts.
Exactly. And so for everybody out there listening, you know, things that you learn on this podcast, anywhere else, make sure you're teaching it to your kids. Make sure you teach it to your nieces, your nephews. They are smart enough to understand it. You know, our kids trade. My son's, you know, he's been trading for a couple of years. His son's getting into it now and really learning the basics of green is good and up, red is bad and down. You know, profit and losses and revenue. They see these companies every day. I promise you, Roblox. They know all about Roblox. Get them ready for cryptocurrency. They if you got kids out there, you know that your kid would rather take Robux than cash today. Right, which means they understand the concept of cryptocurrency. So explain it to them and prepare them, because that information is what's going to build generational wealth. You know what I'm saying?
Game changer.
My last question, I kind of heard you allude to it. Do y'all have life insurance?
Yeah, have to. You have to be able to have life insurance, and something that you can actually leverage to borrow against to actually build more capital and access to capital. So
we're working on the infinite banking system. You know, index universal and leveraging that, but that's not really my forte. So I got somebody I'm working on to like actually make.
You know, we have. I don't think we've ever covered that concept on here. We gotta get Jake on here, bro.
We'll get Jake on here and talk about that because he's one of the infinite banking godfathers, as he calls himself.
That's a major one right there.
Major one. Community gotta hear that. Yeah.
So that's it for my questions, my brother.
Francis, Jehu, man.
This has been an amazing episode. Legendary, dog.
Yeah, this has definitely been great. Like I said, man, it's so much more shit that's just fired up. I want to keep asking questions. We gotta go.
We gotta get our ass up out of here.
We'll do a part 2, man. We gotta get
a part 2.
Because it's different, deeper
part
dive.
2. I know y'all based out of DMV.
Yeah.
Maybe do a part 2 out there, man.
We got everything set up. Yeah.
There we go. Look,
let's do it.
Wait on it. Wait on it. But again, brothers, thank y'all. So for anybody that wants to tap in with y'all, follow you on social media, where can they find y'all?
For sure. On Instagram, it's cheatcode.tv, so CheatCode.tv, or our product page for Cheat Code Algo is at Cheat Code Algo. Also, for me personally, my Instagram is the real Jehu, the real Jehu.
And mine is at Kway.trades, KWAY.TRADES. No extra letters. No extra underscores. There's a lot of fake pages out there. I will never, ever,
scammers.
They be scammers.
Ever DM you. I will never say to you, how is your trading going, or none of that.
Nah.
We got people that got all the time $20,000 plus on that type of stuff.
Yeah, man. Nah,
hey, man, y'all gotta be smarter too, dog. Y'all can't be letting these people get y'all ass like this.
I'm mad as hell. People send me a fake page. I be like, come on, bro. Like, why would I even talk to you like that?
Exactly.
They be like, one of my friends, she sent me, she said, why are you talking to me like a solicitor?
Yeah.
I said,
it's like a solicitor.
Because it is a solicitor, man.
Yeah. I'm like, yo, what? I was like, yo, I'm so tired of people asking me that. I'm going to just start, like, as a page, we're just going to start DMing people and letting them know. If I message you, ask the person to video call you and see if that's me or not. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yo, why would I message you and you're not asking me, like, yo, there's video chat right there. Ask him to video chat you. Why are you trying to send somebody $20,000?
They're gonna do it anyway.
That's too much money to not know. We gotta have a conversation.
It's like, right? You sending somebody $20,000 and you ain't never seen them before.
They get them because they say stuff like, "Oh, I'll trade for you."
Yeah, and people's greed.
People want that convenience.
That greed is always stronger. More, yeah, man.
Hey, man. Learn this shit for yourself, cuz.
That's all I'm teach a man to fish. Fish for life.
Exactly. What I realized I didn't say is if you want the cheat code, you can go to algo.cheatcode.com. Algo, ALGO.cheatcode, CheatCode.com to find it. Yeah.
Y'all tap into that.
For sure.
So we'll get into a few house cleaning notes before we get up out of here. I want to say thank you to all of our loyal listeners. Thank y'all for coming in week in, week out. Y'all leave us a 5-star rating and review.
Most definitely.
Share this with your family and friends. Once again, this was a legendary episode. This episode is going to go through the roof. I need y'all to send this to 50,000 plays in the first week. Like, I need this shit to go crazy. So y'all share this. This was great. If you got some value from this, make sure y'all go to Cheat Code Algo. Go get the program. Go check it out.
After you use it, hit them up and let them know that you used it and made
Please,
them great.
we love testimonials and the feedback. Yeah, man.
And after that, also I'm gonna throw it to David. Talk about the Black Men Summit.
Well, Black Men Summit had already happened and you missed it and you played yourself. So I'm sorry for you. But holla at us on the next one. What we got coming up after that? So after Black Men Summit, we're gonna probably throw a little something out here in Dallas, man. Looking for something sometime in November. So y'all be on the lookout. We'll probably run an ad on the show. Come back with another BWR event. Black Men Summit gonna be something special though. So if this happened to come out before the end, go ahead and grab that ticket. But if you missed out, I'm sorry, dog.
Sorry, Charlie.
Feel for you. But yeah, man. Until next time, this is Black Wealth Renaissance signing out. Peace.
McDonald's has entered a Minecraft movie universe, and Grimace, Birdie, and Hamburglar just spawned as new collectibles in the overworld. Now for a limited time, you can get one of 6 McDonald's collectibles when you order a Minecraft movie meal. With your choice of Big Mac or 10-piece chicken McNuggets with spicy nether flame sauce. Available now in a biome near you. Oh, and at your local McDonald's.
At participating McDonald's for a limited time. A Minecraft movie only in theaters.